going on?
Hi, how are you doing?
Hi, Mayor. Thank you
Good.
so much for making time to talk to us today.
Yeah. Good.
Hi there.
How are you?
Yeah.
Just said they're considering arresting Reps McIver, Menendez, and Watson. What do you think about that?
It's really silly. I heard all of the statements they were making on TV. I haven't heard one thing that they said was true. Some of the folks, reporters were out there. They could see that. I think you guys should talk to your colleagues, look at the video, see what's happening. You could see that everything they said was a complete lie. There was no bus of migrants there. Nobody from ICE was slammed on the ground. We didn't storm the place. So all of it is a lie.
Mayor, can you clarify some of that murkiness, some of the conflicting statements that we're hearing? Were you on the ICE facility property legally or illegally, and how did you get on that property?
Well, we're in a case, but I didn't storm the property. And first of all, ICE doesn't own the property. It's not a federal property. It's owned by GEO, so we have to argue that in the proper context. We can't give that to them because they don't own the property. That's what we're in court for in the first place. They don't own it. Secondly, if I was on their property, I was invited there. Somebody allowed me. I didn't climb a fence. I didn't kick the door down. I didn't bust the window like their friends did at the Capitol. And I didn't hurt people. I walked in a place because I was invited in the place. And I stood in that place for an hour and a half before somebody made a decision to do what they did.
Were you invited by federal agents, or who were you invited?
I was invited by the people who own the property.
Mayor, are you
Talk
going to
about
go?
when they started telling you to leave? Like, describe that. What happened when they started to tell you to leave?
Well, I mean, I can't get into the details of it, because it's the court and my lawyers told me not to. But at the end of the day, the reality is I was there for over an hour with ICE agents. Nobody said one word to me the entire time that I was there. I guess the superiors came because they got a call to come, and they came and approached me while I was standing there. I left eventually. They came outside of the gate after I left the gate and proceeded to try to arrest me there. And you can see the video, the melee, and everything that took place as a part of that. And I went with them because I didn't want to create any further chaos.
Mayor, do you think that this is a politically motivated arrest?
Yeah, I think everything these people do is politically motivated. So at the end of the day, the real basis of this is, we are having a dispute with GEO, not with ICE. I mean, we can argue immigration with ICE. I don't agree with what they're doing. I don't agree with their immigration policy. I don't think they have an immigration policy. But this is not what this is about. I don't agree with Donald Trump. I don't agree with Alina Habba. I don't agree with none of these people. They're all wrong, right? This is not what this is about. This is a dispute between the city and GEO. We have a dispute, and GEO is hiding behind ICE, preventing us from making them get a certificate of occupancy like everybody has to get. They have one from 20 years ago, and they're standing on that. And we're saying you have to get a new one every year. Now that's a dispute. We could be wrong, they could be wrong. But you know who solves disputes? Courts. That's why we have courts. Courts solve disputes, not ICE, not the president, not Alina Habba, not the Homeland Security. Courts do that. And they have to allow the courts to solve these disputes. They can't just do what they want to do and run roughshod over the city and tell our inspectors they can't come in their building.
Mayor, you've called this facility illegal and dangerous. Can you explain why?
Because we haven't inspected it properly. We haven't been in it, so we have to say that it's dangerous. We don't know. I mean, if we don't inspect the sprinkler system in this place, if our first responders go there and there's a fire and we haven't inspected it, all of us become liable. The people in the building, us, the inspectors, because we know it hasn't been done. If you don't have a certificate, the purpose of having a certificate of occupancy is for the safety and security of the people who occupy the building, and for first responders who have to respond there, and visitors who visit the property. There's no building in the state of New Jersey that can go up without a certificate of occupancy, without an updated one, a cleared one, and without inspections. This is not like magic or rocket science. We're not making this up. This is the law. They have to follow it.
Do you plan to go
On
back?
going back there?
Of course, when it's time, I will. Absolutely.
Are you going to Foley Square for the protest?
No,
in Manhattan?
I'm not.
And your reaction to that? I mean, people will be gathering, kind of talking.
Well, honestly, people should be gathering, talking about what's happening in this country. Like, it's not really about me. But at the end of the day, it's about these people running amok of the Constitution of the United States, running amok of due process. I mean, we're allowing these people to slowly bring authoritarianism into this country, and because it seems like it's okay, we're not really as outraged as we should be. None of us are as outraged as we should be when somebody disobeys the Supreme Court, when folks can basically sign an executive order undermining the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, where you can take people's due process and just blame everything on the fact. So you know how they make it go away? They say everybody in the building are rapists or murderers or this or that. But you don't know that. Neither do we, because they won't allow us to go in there and see them. They don't give us their information, their records. We don't know this, so we don't know who the hell is in the building. right? They could just say it's murderers and rapists, and we get scared and we don't say anything.
Can you
next
describe
steps
the
against the
moment
GEO
where,
group?
Excuse me?
What are your next steps against the GEO group?
Well, we're in court now. We're going to continue that. We're going to continue to work with the federal court and the magistrate to resolve this. I go there every morning with the fire inspector, the health inspector. Some of these guys are out there with me. Fire inspector, health inspector. We try to get in. They say no. We serve them and we leave. We do this every day. Why? Because we're in court and we want to build our case that they're refusing us entry every single day
Mayor-
for all of this time.
Mayor, when you describe the moment that you were arrested on public property by a federal agency versus a local police department, what was that like, and did you think that would ever happen to you?
No, I didn't think it would happen to me. The congressman came to the fence and said, "Hey, they're talking about arresting you back here." I said, "Why? For what?" I didn't do anything. God told me to leave. I left. I'm gone. So what are you arresting me for? So at this point, I thought it was just mere intimidation, right? They were in the fence going on their tour that they were invited to go on. They didn't come down there to protest, right? All this is a lie. The congressmen didn't come down there to protest. They came down there on a tour that ICE told them to come for. And they made them wait in there an hour and a half and showed up at the end and didn't give them the tour, attacked me. They saw me and came after me, right? Which is ridiculous, right? So that none of that ever took place. So
What are the
Why
thoughts
do
that
you
you
think
have
they
on
only
the
arrested
statements
you?
of support you've seen from your rivals in the governor's race from the Democrats?
good. I'm good. I'm glad that they are, making the most of this.
Would you welcome a
What do you think
conversation?
the political implications are of your arrest as it relates to the June 7th primary?
I don't know, man. I didn't wake up that morning yesterday thinking I was gonna go to jail. So I don't know what that is. If I wanted to go to jail, I could have easily went any morning that I was down there. When I went down there in the morning, if my intention was to go to jail, I would have rushed into place then and got arrested. I did what I did and went home. Took my kids to school, by the way. Came back because they said it was having a press conference down there. They made a decision to arrest me. The onus is on them. It's not on me. They made a decision to arrest me. They made a decision to violate me. They made a decision to humiliate me, to put me in cuffs, and told the people to take me to the ground. Said tackle me to the ground. Thank God the Office of Homeland Security didn't do that. And shout out to those guys who treated me very well when I was incarcerated there.
Would you welcome a
What was it like in those
conversation?
5 hours? What was it like in those 5 hours?
Who told you that you're supposed to be tackled?
Well, they yelled that out there. Take them to the ground. Take them to the ground.
Can
Would
you
you wel-
describe what it was like to be in custody?
Well, it's humiliating to be in jail. Anybody that's been in jail knows it's humiliating. I mean, it is stressful, depressing. The good thing is that the officers there treated me with dignity and respect. They asked me that I need anything, took care of me. Homeland Security officer, even when they questioned me, I was in the interrogation room. So I had to sign the paper, the right to remain silent, all that stuff. I mean, this stuff is like, it's terrible. It's a terrible process. But look, it's the way it goes. I answered their questions. I talked to them. I fully cooperated with them because I have nothing to hide.
At any point were you worried?
Man, I was worried that it was Friday night and I wasn't going to see no judge, and I would have to stay there till Monday. I was worried about that, And my kids, my wife was outside. My kids were home with our family. That's concerning. And there was more and more people gathering outside. And I noticed because the cops kept telling me that. All these people outside.
What message do you have for other lawmakers who want to also visit ICE facilities or oppose ICE facilities that are going up in their city or
Listen,
their county?
first of all, I think private prisons should be illegal. I think the state and the Congress should make sure that private prisons go away, that we shouldn't have them, right? That's number one. I also believe that everybody in this country has a right to protest. We're in this kind of space now where it's becoming difficult for people to redress their grievance, to protest. This country is established on the right to protest, the right to the Boston Tea Party and all this stuff. The right to protest is embedded and ingrained in the history of this country. People have a right to speak out, and people shouldn't be afraid of it. Law firms shouldn't be afraid of suing public officials or defending other people because they fear the wrath of the government. Or other elected officials shouldn't fear they're going to be arrested, or judges arrested because they're behaving in their conscience and not because in the way these people are telling us to behave. This is authoritarianism. There is no other way to describe what's happening in this country right now but authoritarianism.
A judge in Wisconsin was arrested. Now you've been arrested.
Yeah.
Do you fear more lawmakers or people in these
Absolutely.
positions could be arrested?
Yes, if these folks don't speak out. I was just on the and I said I was on a CNN with the communications folks from Homeland Security, and she insisted that they were going to arrest the Congress people on the show. And she insisted they were going to arrest them for things that I know for a fact that they did not do, because I was standing next to them, that they slammed ICE agents, that they did this. This is all fabrication. And they get on the media and they lie and lie and lie and lie. And you could see the video, and we continue to allow them to lie. And that's the problem. We allow these people to get away with this stuff, and they shouldn't be allowed to get away with this
Thanks,
stuff.
guys. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Yep.